Chevrolet medium and heavy-duty trucks are tailored tough for the big jobs, for more heavier-duty business. This year you can offer your prospects match-to-the-market vehicles with a new model lineup, solid new frames, rugged new suspensions, new trimline styling, and new power teams. 73 medium-duty conventional, LCF, tilt cab, and cowl models in Series 50 and 60 are offered this year.
We're at our garage and test facility. Let's open the door and see what we're rolling out today. A 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer. Another one. Just had one like about 4 or 5 months ago. I don't even remember if I liked it or not, but I guess we'll find out again, won't we? This is a nice looking vehicle, although I think the red metallic paint certainly helps in that department. And a view from the rear. This has the Chevrolet emblem on the outside to tell you it's a Chevrolet product. Well, kind of. Let's see, the engine and transmission made in Mexico. Then they put it on a slow boat to China where it ends up in a Korean factory, dropping the engine and transmission in the vehicle over there where it's assembled. Then it's put on another boat and shipped all the way over here to the United States. That's a lot of shipping. Can't be cheap to do that. You think it'd be cheaper just to build the whole vehicle over here, but hey, what do I know? The base price starts at $19,000. This is loaded up with more goodies, so $30,000. If you're interested in small SUVs, we also tested a pair of Honda CR-V Touring and a hybrid. We'll have a link for that video coming up at the end of this video. We also drove the 2020 Mazda CX-30 SUV. We'll have a link for that one too. Of course, we all know you really don't want a compact economical SUV. You really want this nice Corvette we had 3 weeks ago. If you want to watch that video, you have to get on my channel separately. Yeah, I know we can't afford it, but watch it anyway. Anytime we get a vehicle, there are two things we do right off the bat. Number one, we take the headlights out in the dark and see how they perform. I guess the headlights are the ones on the bottom here. Well, we'll find out soon enough. Well, it's dark enough. Let's take these lights out and see what they do. Here we have the low beams, only well 100 feet away. Good height, decent spread. Go to high beam. Not the strongest I've ever seen, but good height, good wide spread. And that building is 300 feet away, blocked by the fence now, but it still lights up the building pretty good. Low beam goes out around 200 feet. Wish the fence wasn't there, but nothing I can do about that now. Here's what the rearview camera looks like in the dark. Not the brightest I've ever seen, and does a good job of lighting up the brake lights, though. And the camera works slightly better when there's some light outside. And in the real world, on a real street, low beam, high beam. Overall, I'd say the lights pass. I really don't have any complaints. Then the second thing we do, check to see if there's a spare tire. A lot of vehicles don't nowadays. And apparently we get a small donut, which is better than nothing. And now I have a third thing I want to do when I get a vehicle. I want to check out the so-called safety nannies and see if I can disconnect them all. And you can. Forward collision system, front pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise, lane change alert. All this stuff can be turned off, but what's more important, when you turn it off, it stays off. Unlike many other vehicles, where you turn it off, then you turn the ignition off, turn the ignition back on, and then everything comes back on again. Which means you have to go through and scroll through everything every time you turn on the car. Not a problem here. You turn it all off, it stays off. So for the ability to turn all this nonsense off, I give Chevrolet an extra 5 points on my rating system. Thank you very much. Also, the engine start-stop system that shuts the motor off at stoplights, that can be disconnected too by pressing this. Since we're in the cabin, let's take a look. We have a nice large glove box. Very simple climate controls. A very nice gauge cluster. Room for 2 full-size adults in the second row seating, which does fold down for more cargo room, of course. Mat pockets behind both seats. Overall, I'm very impressed with the cabin. I have no complaints whatsoever. Looks good. Simple controls. Smells good, too. That nice new car smell. Don't get that on many vehicles nowadays. Let's take a look under the hood, where the base engine is a 1.2-liter 3-cylinder turbo, putting out 137 horsepower, hooked to a CVT automatic transmission. Or if you're a real big spender, you can upgrade to the big 1.3-liter 3-cylinder engine with a turbo, putting out 155 horsepower to a 9-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive like we have here. And here's the fuel economy rating. 26 to 30 mpg. We'll be taking this out in the real world to get the real figure. Don't go away. I put 51 miles on this vehicle in heavy city traffic. 26.8 mpg thus far. Not bad, really. As we do in all my videos, we're going to take some mild speed humps at 20 miles per hour to evaluate the suspension performance on impacts. And here we go. Bump number 1. Reasonably smooth enough. Number 2. Tire pressures are set at 35 psi. Factory specs, by the way. Number 3. And the nasty one coming up. Yeah, felt that one. Overall, though, the ride's pretty decent. By the way, this vehicle operates in 2-wheel drive, unless you press the all-wheel drive button. In order to save fuel and get better acceleration times, and I think this is the sport mode. Let's do a 0 to 60 run. 1, 2, 3. Obviously, this isn't a race car, but it does have enough power for everyday driving. I'm not complaining. If you loaded this vehicle up with 4 people and lots of gear, haven't done that yet. We're going to take this out on the freeway, see if we get some highway mileage. Get a chance, might do some off-roading too. I'm very surprised how comfortable this is on the freeway. Very smooth and quiet. There is wind noise outside, of course, but it doesn't really come in the interior that much. The only drawback, we do have some strong crosswinds today that are bouncing the vehicle back and forth, but considering the lightweight, not surprising. Nothing serious. By the way, if you're hearing a lot of wind noise on your speakers watching this video, it's amplified by my cheap camera for some reason. It loves to pick up wind noise, but not my voice so much. So yes, it is quieter than it sounds. Well, here you go, 27.9 mpg. That included a lot of uphill driving and passing. I wasn't taking it easy at all, so that's a pretty good figure, I would think. If you keep it around 65 miles per hour, I have no doubt there'd be way over 30 mpg. Well, a little over 30 mpg. I don't drive that slow, so I can't tell you. We've got ranch patrolling to do. I'll take this off-road, get it dirty. And as you can see, I still need to get a roof on our ranch house, but just haven't had the time. Been saying that for, what, 4 years now? Yes, the Trailblazer can be taken off-road. It does have the ground clearance to do so. Even more so ability if you put in the all-wheel drive, which is optional, which is great when driving gravel and sand like I'm going to be. On the other hand, this is not a frame-on-body pickup truck. It is basically a car. So you have to do light-duty driving. No heavy-duty rough trails, which most people will never want to do anyway. Wasn't made for that. For an inexpensive vehicle, I'm surprised how solid the body structure is. No rattles at all. Although you might hear some rattling in the back. Those are metal chairs and tables, not the vehicle falling apart, so don't worry. And the ride is pretty smooth, a lot better than I expected. Because this trail does have some nasty ruts, which doesn't seem to bother the vehicle at all. One of the reasons I like compact SUVs, it allows you to squeeze in narrow trails. Also protects the paint from the nasty thorn bushes. So after a week of driving, what's my take on the Chevrolet Trailblazer? You know, it's all about the price. I didn't really care for the first one I had like 6 months ago because it was loaded up like 35 grand, and that's an awful lot of money for something that starts at 19 grand. This one's a bit less expensive, a little more reasonable. Plus it's made in Korea and sold by Chevrolet dealers, so you can get a better discount even off of that. If you get it for the right price and do light duty driving, it's really not a bad vehicle. I certainly can't complain about the fuel economy. And by the way, I was supposed to get a Ford Bronco Sport next week, but somehow the windshield got shattered, so in about 3 or 4 weeks it'll be coming back. So you might want to subscribe so you don't miss that test. Be a good comparison against this.